Welcome to Somalia's premium #1 station for news and updates. I'm your presenter Abdurrahman Yusuf. Tonight we have a couple of stories lined up for you, but first let's take a look at the stories that are making our headlines. Al-Shabaab aerial detection disruption, the hidden weapon that defies surveillance. Ethiopia dismisses claims of Al-Shabaab militia killing 167 soldiers. Middle Shabelle showdown, Al-Shabaab militants trapped and decimated, facing grim fate. Diplomatic frictions brew after Jubilant appoints envoy to Kenya. Glad to have you back. Now let's delve into a full bulletin. Man appears before a military court in Mogadishu charged with intending to transport what appears to be space blankets from Jilib to Galilheri to be used by the Al-Shabaab militants to conceal their body heat and avoid aerial thermal detection. A military court in Mogadishu has executed Sharif Abshir Abdurrahman Jama, also known as Jini Jini, to death for the brutal slaying of Saeed Ali Abdishabi, a distinguished member of the military. The court, in a decisive move, dispatched the death sentence to Haradere, where Jama met his ultimate fate. The Somali Armed Forces Court has consistently demonstrated its resolve to carry out justice, even in the face of international pressure and appeals from human rights organizations to abandon the practice of capital punishment. Over the years, the court has implemented the death penalty for soldiers found guilty of both civilian and military killings, further cementing its commitment to maintaining discipline within the ranks. Despite Somalia's tumultuous past characterized by armed conflict and political instability, the nation has made remarkable strides in the recent years towards rebuilding state institutions and establishing a functional government as recognized by the United Nations Human Rights Council. This significant progress serves as a testament to Somalia's determination to foster stability and ensure the welfare of its citizens. However, the United Nations Human Rights Council has noted that Somalia has yet to reform its outdated 1964 penal code. The absence of a clear definition of torture within this legal framework poses a challenge to the country's human rights endeavors. As Somalia continues its path towards progress, it is imperative that comprehensive legal reforms are undertaken to align the nation's legislation with internationally recognized standards. The Ethiopian government has downplayed claims of Al-Shabaab militia to have killed 167 Ethiopian soldiers in a surprise attack in the Bakol area of Somalia. Ethiopia's ambassador to Somalia, Mukhtar Mohamed Ware, has rejected the accusations as groundless and without evidence. The Al-Shabaab militant group has recently employed an innovative tactic to counter intensified airstrikes and thermal detection efforts by the federal government and its international partners. The group has resorted to using space blankets to conceal their body heat, thus evading aerial thermal detection during airstrikes. The exact duration of Al-Shabaab's utilization of this tactic remains unknown at present. However, its emergence has raised concerns among security forces and prompted a military response to address this new challenge. On Monday, a man identified as Jamal Yasin Hassan appeared before a military court in Mogadishu on charges of attempting to transport what appeared to be space blankets from Jilib to Galilheri for use by the Al-Shabaab militants. Hassan's lawyer argues that the material is commercially available in the markets, and as such the government lacks a compelling case against his client. During the court proceedings, the suspect claimed that he was not delivering the material to Al-Shabaab, but to a businessman, and he had no knowledge of its intended use by the militant group. The court will further investigate these claims to determine the veracity of defendant's statement and any potential connections to Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab, a militant group operating in Somalia, has been striving to overthrow the central government for over a decade. In response, the government has intensified its efforts to combat the group, with particular focus on rooting out its members through various means. To aid in these efforts, the United States, Kenya and Turkey have been providing support to the Somali government by conducting airstrikes targeting the Al-Shabaab militants. This collaboration has yielded significant results in the past, including elimination of key figures within the organization. One notable example is former Al-Shabaab leader Ahmed Abdi Godane, who was killed in a US airstrike in the Lower Shabelle region on September 1, 2014. In 2012, the US government had placed a heavy bounty of $7 million on his head, only 2 years after he pledged allegiance to the Al-Qaeda in 2009. Moreover, Godane's predecessor, Aden Hashi Ayero, was also eliminated in US airstrike into Samareb, central Somalia in 2008. In a dramatic turn of events, a significant number of militants belonging to the Al-Shabaab group have found themselves trapped over 24 hours in area known as Idka, situated between the Mahaday district and Ali Foldere area in the Middle Shabelle region of Somalia. The unfolding situation has led to intense fighting that has dealt a severe blow to the militants' group operation in the region.
In a dramatic turn of events, a significant number of militants belonging to the Al-Shabaab group have found themselves trapped for over 24 hours in an unknown area as Idka, situated between the Mahadai district and Ali Foldere area in the Middle Shabelle region of Somalia. The unfolding situation has led to intense fighting and has dealt a severe blow to the militant group's operation in the region. According to reports, the trapped group had been attempting to cross the river Shabelle in Mahadai area over the past few days with the intention of infiltrating the liberated territories of the Middle Shabelle region. However, their plans were met with fierce resistance. Yesterday afternoon, they were subjected to heavy shelling and engaged in intense combat, resulting in their isolation and substantial casualties. Sources indicate that the group, consisting of hundreds of fighters, had taken measures to impede access, including blocking roads and digging deep holes along the intended path towards the liberated districts of the Middle Shabelle region. As a result of the bombings, many militants were killed or wounded, leaving the surviving members trapped and vulnerable to continued bombardment. Local militia, bolstered by the support of the National Army, have also engaged in direct combat with the militants in certain areas. The situation of the trapped Al-Shabaab militants is dire, cut off from the outside supplies and unable to escape the holes they dug for themselves. Their members have dwindled significantly due to the relentless bombardment that commenced yesterday afternoon and continued throughout the night and into today. Any attempts by the militants to break free from their confinement have been met with lethal force from the local forces. The current events unfold against the backdrop of long-standing battle between the Somali government and Al-Shabaab, the group known for its brutal tactics and affiliation with international terrorist organizations. Al-Shabaab has been responsible for numerous attacks in Somalia targeting civilians, government officials, and the African Union peacekeepers forces. The Middle Shabelle region, where the recent clashes have occurred, has witnessed intense fighting in the past as both national and regional forces, supported by international partners, have been actively combating Al-Shabaab's presence.
President Ahmed Islam Madobe of the Jubaland state has appointed an envoy to Kenya despite the presence of an ambassador from the federal government of Somalia already stationed in the country. The decision, announced on Friday, has raised concerns and draw attention to the delicate balance between regional and federal authorities in Somalia. Here's the full story.
President Ahmed Mohamed Islam of Jubaland state of Somalia has appointed an envoy to Kenya, despite the presence of an ambassador from the federal government of Somalia already stationed in the country. The decision, announced on Friday, has raised concerns and drawn attention to the delicate balance between regional and federal authorities in Somalia. President Ahmed Mohamed Islam affirmed that the newly appointed envoy, Sadiq Abdullahi Bogale, would be tasked with advancing Jubaland's interests in Kenya, citing Article 72 of the state constitution, which grants him the authority to make political appointments and assign diplomats to new posts. The president defended his decision. However, the move has raised eyebrows due to the presence of the federal government of Somalia's ambassador based in Nairobi. The role of a foreign representative at the state level is not explicitly outlined in the country's provisional constitution, which exclusively grants foreign relation powers to the federal government of Somalia. As of now, the federal government of Somalia has not commented on Bogale's appointment as the envoy to Kenya. The decision has also increased the number of diplomatic missions from the Horn of Africa and Kenya to 3, with Somaliland, a self-declared independent region, already operating a political mission in the country. Jubaland state of Somalia was established in 2013, and Kenya has maintained a cordial relationship with the state, particularly in its efforts to combat Al-Shabaab. However, Kenya's relations with the federal government of Somalia have been strained by diplomatic controversies, specifically concerning what Somalia perceives as overt and blatant interference by Kenya in the internal affairs of Jubaland. In December 2020, Somalia recalled its ambassador from Nairobi and expelled the Kenyan ambassador, as tensions between the two countries reached a boiling point. At the time, Somalia accused Kenya of exerting pressure on the Jubaland president to further its own political and economic interests within Somalia. In May 2021, diplomatic relations between Somalia and Kenya were restored following mediation by Qatar. The restoration of ties was seen as a positive step towards resolving the long-standing disputes and fostering cooperation between the two countries. The recent appointment of Sadiq Abdullahi Bogale as Jubaland's envoy to Kenya has reignited tensions and raised questions about the delicate balance of power between regional and federal authorities. As the federal government of Somalia and other stakeholders respond to this development, it remains to be seen how the controversy will be resolved and what implications it may have for the future of diplomatic relations in the region.
Lovely viewers, that controversial story from Jubaland brings us to the end of our bulletin, wherever you're watching us from. Thank you. Stay put for more stories in our subsequent bulletins. Kindly like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Have yourselves a lovely night.